I never imagined I'd have the kind of career arc that I've had. I would have put down a large sum of money in a bet that nothing on earth would ever have gotten me to accept the job of FDA Commissioner. Nothing on earth would have gotten me to accept the job of New York City Health Commissioner. But those were two of the best jobs that I've ever had.
You have an extraordinarily powerful and vast role when you look at it in the context of the U.S. economy, the global economy. I read when you first took on the role of New York City Health Commissioner, you said, "This is crazy, I'm not qualified." When you fast forward and look at this tremendous role that you took on, what was the experience like when you got the call about this position?
Well, when I got the call about this position, I was actually surprised because I had never formally interviewed for it. I'd had some discussions about incoming leadership in the Obama administration about, possibly returning to government service. But I must say this job was daunting. Every day you read about the FDA in the papers, often it's about problems that are occurring. Sadly, the FDA is often the target, fairly or unfairly. I did think twice, but I'd have to say that my family was amazing. Truth be told, my parents didn't want me to do it. They
Why?
thought that I might just get too beaten up. But my husband and my children really said, "Mom, you got to do it." And they said, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
I would imagine you have to develop a thick skin, and you also have to live day to day with this sense of the daunting expanse that you mentioned of the role. How do you do that?
Well, of course, every day when I pick up the paper, I have this momentary sense of panic. Is there going to be something in here that I don't know about, but it's going to change my day? Yes, I do have a thick skin, and I don't tend to personalize, and I try to really focus on the goal of what needs to be done and how best to do it, and really do try to live by the sort of principle that I guess Harry Truman first articulated, that you can accomplish a lot if you don't need credit as well. I think, it's really important to have this sense of mission about what we're doing. Few agencies have the kind of mission that FDA does. We are a public health agency, a science-based regulatory agency, but our mission is to promote and protect health. And what we do matters to people in this country and people around the world. And that keeps me going. And I've learned that sometimes it can be tough.
When you're in this role and you have all these people disagreeing, criticizing, weighing in judgment, what still gets personal?
It gets hard, and I guess personal, when I feel that I didn't do the best job I could have, or the agency didn't do the best job we could have. And and of course, the nature of the business and the nature of, our own humanity is that you often fall a little bit short. But that also keeps you motivated, keeps me, waking up in the morning and saying, okay, I know what we need to do, and we're going to keep at it. And having a team around you of people that you like and respect and share your vision and goals makes a huge difference as well.
If you look at setbacks and failures as positive things, what's the best failure you've had?
Well, stepping back a little bit and looking at sort of the history of the FDA, the sad truth is that some of the most important things that have been accomplished have happened emerging out of a crisis, and important changes in our laws and authorities have come because a crisis has shown where the gaps are. That's too bad that it takes a crisis, but it's also, such a powerful reminder that you have to see the opportunity in every crisis. And right now we're in a critical period of really repositioning FDA for the 21st century. And that has involved some stumbles along the way, but some successes too.
Earlier in your career, when you weren't necessarily in such a high-profile, powered position, was there that type of crisis that you experienced that offered you a leadership lesson that you think is invaluable for other leaders to know?
Well, it's funny, but I would say doing a medical internship was that kind of an experience. It wasn't the best time in my life, but it was a time when I'd first become a physician, a card-carrying physician, was in a setting where I was on the front line taking care of patients. I often felt overwhelmed. I often felt like, who am I to be making these decisions? And how can these people take me seriously? But I also knew that I had an obligation to those patients and their families to step up to the plate and to be the doctor that they needed and counted on. And, sometimes late at night when, nothing seemed to be going right and I was worried and concerned and wondered if morning would ever come, it always did. And I reflect back to those days even now when I have to step up to the plate and deal with an issue that I don't know. Am I going to be able to cope?